You all good? You can hear me? Welcome to the Power Chat series. Richard Osborne, the senior, for the 46th annual Missouri Nationals Open Karate Tournament. Let's talk about it. 46 years. Tell me a little bit more about the event and the history of it.
Well, it started back in 1979. My original kickboxing instructor, Ike Stafford, had it here in Springfield in 1980. I took it over. Um, we only had 26 divisions when we started, only had two grand champs. Uh, we've come a long way since 1980.
Yeah, and so you've 46. So you've been doing it for 45 for the practically almost the entire thing. How has you have you seen it grow and change over the years?
Well, like I said, we went from 26 divisions. Now we have 125. We have 13 grand championships. We have 13 runner-up grand championships. So it's come a long ways. I think we had, back in the day, we had 20 or 30 people at tournaments. It was more like an intra-school tournament then.
Hmm.
Uh, we'll draw about 200. It's not the biggest in the Midwest. Uh, Most everybody knows my son Richard Jr. has got the largest tournament here in the Midwest, but um, for being one of the oldest here in the Midwest, I'm pretty happy with the numbers that we get.
Of course, yeah. Talk about a legacy that you've built, and maybe your grandkids will put on their own event one day. Now,
Absolutely.
behind you, let's show off the trophy. I mean, how cool is that? A trophy from the original event for almost 5 decades old. My goodness!
Oh yeah, there it is. That's the
Wow.
first Missouri Nationals. Uh, it's seen better days. Like me, it's seen better days, but it's kind of cool to have an original trophy.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Now, talking about this year, the event here, mark your calendars, is March 1st. It's a Saturday, which is a nice day to have an event so people can prepare and they can relax on their Sunday, of course. Tell me more about the schedule. I see it starts 8 a.m. sharp.
8 a.m. sharp. We've always, back in 1984, we went to the Bluegrass Nationals. The late Grandmaster Ken Eubanks. He used to be able to run 5,000 people and be done by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And his theory was to start early, have your judges, and every tournament you go to these days has that flavor of Grandmaster Ken Eubanks. So we've kept that all these years. We start all the musicals at 8 o'clock, followed by weapons and then forms and fighting divisions. And we're usually done by 1:30, 2 o'clock, and run 200 competitors through.
That's great. And so 200 competitors is a great. People will have competition. They'll have someone to compete against, which is nice. In terms of registration, maybe people should get their registration in soon, right?
Yes, Mad Action opened for us. Mad Action was pretty busy up at the AKAs in Chicago last weekend, so they got us opened up right after the AKAs. So you can go on to madaction.com and get registered.
Yeah. All right. And for competitors, it looks like there's a member fee and a non-member fee. It's not expensive for spectators and their parents to come and watch. Tell me more
Yeah, we
about the.
tried to make it. Our organization started back in 1984. Again, going back to Grandmaster Ken Eubanks. He ran the RSKC there out of Louisville, Kentucky, and it touched about every state that touched Kentucky. And we started our own MMASC, our own sanctioning body, and that saves the parents about $1,000 all year. Every time that they register in, they get a special MMASC code, and it saves the parents a little bit of money.
For sure. It Now tell me more about Ozark, Missouri, and for anyone who wants
Oh,
to make it a weekend.
well, Ozark, Missouri, we are so close to Branson. It's just a hop, skip, and a jump. You're from the tournament venue. It's on 65 Highway, which runs right through Branson. So you're close to Branson. You're real close to Springfield with Bass Pro Shop. We got a nice mall. Most everybody has been here because of my son's tournament. He draws from all over the country, so there's so much to do, and we're in early and we're out early, so you can really make it a very nice weekend.
For sure. Now, in terms of awards, that first trophy you showed me, is it going to be medals or trophies this year? Rings, plaques?
Well, Richard Jr., it's hard for the dad to take advice from his son, but years ago, Richie started with, matter of fact, him and Alex, when Alex first got started, Richie was one of the first ones was on his live feed with him. So they've kind of got the old man thinking their way. So we're going to do medals this year.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you can see the medals behind me, the AKA medals from last weekend. Uh, the kids and the parents over the years have said they didn't like the 6 and 7 foot tall trophies. They could they could transport the medals easier. So we have a custom medal guy. He's been with us now about 20 years, and he'll do a custom medal that has the Missouri Nationals on it.
You know as well as anybody that probably trends come and go. So you know the 6 foot trophies might come for the by the 50th annual. People will want to get some of those back, but for sure, I think at this stage, people love the medals. It looks great in pictures, and I think the parents enjoy not having too much clutter in their living room or their household.
Well, I traveled the country like Alex and his dad and his brothers, and winning black belt grand champ trophies were 7, 8 foot tall. And for the longest time, the airlines would let me put the trophy behind the captain's chair. Well, somebody complained to the airlines that I was getting special treatment. So then
Mhm.
I tried to undo the trophies and put them back together when I got back to Springfield. Yeah, that didn't
Yep.
work. So I gave away. Terry Kramer's the same way. He's gave away about 500 black belt grands, and I stopped bringing the big trophies home. I give them away for sportsmanship trophies to the smaller competitors or somebody that's had a rough day. They kind of like having a black belt's big trophy, but they are hard to lug around.
Yeah, great. Now, so you're trying to get people in and out of the event, so they can go home and hopefully have dinner back with their families that night. Are you going to be having any of your students, or is your son going to be bringing out his students from the
Oh
school?
yes, there's people coming all over the Midwest. I talked to Terry Kramer at AKA's last weekend. Him and Rich Norton out of St. Louis. We've got a nice group coming out of Jefferson City, Kansas
Nice.
City. The new Wise Guys team up there. That's Mark Long. One of his black belts has got just a dynamite team out of Kansas City. We've got some flavor from Tulsa, Oklahoma, Miami, Oklahoma, the Branson area, Arkansas. So it's just it's kind of a melting pot. I think that's why my son's tournament has gotten so big. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
is everybody's just wanted to compete, but Springfield is so easy to get to, and Ozark is just a small city just adjacent to Springfield. It's just 5 minutes, so we try and get them in and get them out, and they can have a great weekend.
Of course, yeah, and they really I feel like out in the in the Midwest there are multiple tournaments, but it's not oversaturated so that people are going to each of your events, in the Midwest.
Well, we that's something that we tried to do. That again, that goes back to Grandmaster Ken Eubanks back in 1984 of trying to have one tournament a month. He
Mm-hmm.
found out that if you tried to have 3 or 4 tournaments a month, that parents were falling out. So we tried to make it affordable. We have one tournament a month.
Mm-hmm.
We make sure it's rated. At
Mm-hmm.
the end of the year, we have a great banquet. It's not as big as what the NASCA banquet was last weekend. They had about 12, 1,500. We'll draw 300 or 400 people for the banquet. And then what we do different is we give back rings and hoodies and plaques and championship belts. And we don't charge the competitor for those. We'll give away about $40,000 in awards and prizes. So
Oh,
it gives them a reason to try and compete, but then we try and keep it affordable to where it's not watered down. And you're right, there's some great tournaments and there's some great organizations. SWAT organization, the ProMec with Joey Perry. There's some great competition, and everybody's been pretty good about not stacking their tournament on top of one another to where we can all go and support one another.
yeah, it's great, and you can support and you can bring your students to the next one. It's a good collaboration, and I think it's rooted in a sense of like both respect and not wanting to step on toes, so each person can have a successful weekend, right?
Well, it over the years, there's been a lot of egos. Imagine
Mm.
that in sport karate. It seems like as we've gotten older, a lot of that's gone by, and it's like, oh, what can we do to work with one another? And I think that's a great testament to these kids that hey, it doesn't matter my style or my background. Come and compete. We'll have fellowship, and then we'll go out and eat some chicken together when we get done.
Yeah. So yeah, we talked a little bit more about the the area. What's your biggest best recommendation in food where your tournament is? Best restaurant.
Oh, you can't. We're right there, right by Lambert's, where the throwing rolls are.
Okay.
Man, you can't. You got to come hungry when you go to that place. They'll come by and give you a big old scoop of macaroni and cheese,
Oh,
or that. My grandson used to throw rolls. Richard Jr.'s boy, uh, golly, he's a big old boy, but he used to throw those rolls, and me and Grandma always got extra rolls. So Lambert's a great place. There's a Mexican restaurant that's just there within a couple of minutes. I mean, whatever you want to eat, it's within 5 or 10 minutes.
great. Okay. Well, there you have it. It's a good weekend to get your competition in, and of course eat well. And all of the wrinkles are out by the 46th year, right? I mean, it's just is that your experience? You kind of got it down to a science.
Well, I'd like to think so. I watched Grandmaster Ken Eubanks for years, and then going to the NASCA circuit. And we've been to just about every sport karate circuit: the NASCA, PKL, NAKC, NBL, and
Mhm.
and so has Alex and his brothers and his dad. And you kind of see that stuff, and you see what works. And
Mhm.
Grandmaster Eubanks had it figured out. He started on time. He had a great black belt meeting long before black belt meetings were being. There was nothing to see 300 or 400 people at his black belt meeting, and he said, "Okay, this is the process." Now with computers today, it makes it just a little bit quicker. I
Right.
told Alex and I told my son I'd never go to computers. It makes for a better day. The kids get to see their name up on the computer screen, and the divisions do run smoother. So you're right. After baptism by fire, after 46 years, you've kind of found a way to get them in, get them out.
Yeah, that's great, and that's what competitors want, right? They want a smooth going event, so all they have to focus on is fighting well and doing their forms well. Great. So, well, thank you so much for coming on. Last minute reminders: March 1st, it's a Saturday. Get out to the competition. Make sure you register on madaction.com. And if you have any questions, contact information is on this flyer right here. So, check it out right in the middle. Thank you for watching, and thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
All right, we are off.